So the episode that aired last week, you directed.
Yes.
Are you going to be doing more of that, or how was that experience directing all these actors that you've been working with?
Wait, ask again. I got distracted.
It's okay. You directed this past episode that aired, so I was like, how was it to direct your cast that you've been working with all this time?
I'm happy to. I feel like thank you all for being here. I'm very happy to report that the cast is extraordinary. I'm very happy to report that that the four girls, the stars of our shows, are as professional as I suspected, and are as kind as I hoped, and even more talented than I thought. I have directed a few shows now. I've had that opportunity. I've been lucky enough to do a few shows, so I have some points of comparison, and I can say unequivocally that these girls are as talented and as prepared and as professional as any actors I've ever worked with. And I kind of obviously I knew Lucy because most of my scenes are with Lucy, so I already knew that about Lucy. But I mean, it just Ashley and Troy and Shay are just, I can't say enough about them. I feel a little paternal pride. But it's nice because look, the show's successful and it's found an audience, and you guys, I don't need to tell you guys this. I mean, sometimes good things happen to bad people.
Are you maybe going to?
And these people deserve every amount of attention and credit that they're getting. Those girls, they're just really, I'm really impressed with them.
Are you maybe going to direct for another series when you're on hiatus for this?
I am going to do one more Pretty Little Liars. I'm going to do, I think it's episode 23. And then I'm going to go do another Bones episode in January during what we hope is our hiatus, obviously. I mean, I think you don't want to get too ahead of yourself, but I think that I'd like to think we'll be back for another season, and then hopefully I'd get to direct one or two more next season, or three maybe. How about four? I'll lobby for four.
So we sort of learned a little bit about Byron's past, and his brother was kind of alluded to. Are we going to see more of that in either the mid-season finale or beyond?
It's interesting with this show. And unlike any other show I've ever been on, I honestly have no idea where they're going to take the characters. I really don't. I know they do. Having been a director, I know they've got their master plan, and they've given a lot of consideration and thought to where each character is going. I just don't know where the storyline is going to go, and I think I'm not sure how those decisions are made, and who could argue with success. I'd like to think it becomes all about my character. I just don't think that somehow is going to happen, but that'll be okay. That'd be all right with me, because I'm not so sure that the show would last as long. But I don't know where they're going to go with that. I certainly hope that they do. I mean, we certainly introduced it, and I'm a big proponent of when you introduce big story points that you somehow later on down the line, flush it out, because I think the audience pays attention to those things. I mean, I know this audience in particular pays very, very close attention to the details of the show, and I know that the writers really give a lot of care and consideration to that audience that has very, very high expectations.
Arya and Ezra obviously have this dance. They're trying to tell her parents.
Right.
They pull back. What are we going to see in regards to that before season's end?
It's again with like so much of the show, I can't really say too much, I guess, about what's going to happen. Byron and Ella are aware that there is a rumor that a teacher is having some kind of relationship with a student. I can say this much. Well, it was in the episode where obviously Ella thinks it's Spencer, which was a lot of fun to direct. I love the misdirection of the show when it does that. I mean, I find that really satisfying. So obviously, each time that they think that Ezra and Arya think that they're going to let us know about what's happening, there's a new obstacle and challenge put before them. I think that they're going to reach a point here very soon where no challenge, no wall is too high for them to climb over to let us know what's happening. How we're going to react to that, I think, would be very complicated. I mean, because in many ways it would be really hard to be too judgmental for Byron. I think this is in many ways his behavior. And so as I say, tell your kids don't do as they won't do as you say, they'll do as you do. And then also I think that both Byron and Ella really like Ezra. And I think that they respect him as a colleague. And I mean, so much so that Byron got him the job at Hollis. So it will be complicated. Like everything in Rosewood, it will be very complicated and nothing will be as it seems. And as an actor, you show up and I get the new script and I go, and I'm surprised. I'm always surprised at the directions that they're taking it. And 9 times out of 10, I'm pleasantly surprised.
Now, are we going to learn more about the affair that Byron had in the Halloween flashback episode and kind of see him in that?
Yeah. There's a really uncomfortable emotional scene between Byron and Arya, where we're already aware of what transpired in that scene. It's been played out through the first season and parts of this season, and informed really the way in which the family fractured in the way that they've treated one another. But it's just that kind of intimate look at that conversation, which was, as an actor, full of conflict and really exciting to play, and I think as an audience probably, uncomfortable in the best way to watch, hopefully.
When you enter a project like this, is there a certain fear that the adults won't be as fleshed out as they think God have been?
Yeah. I mean, it's not called Pretty Little Parents, for good reason. But I think that one of the things that the writers are aware of and have done nicely is they've fleshed the parents out and kept them three-dimensional and kept them real, living, breathing, caring, complicated people. I think that's, like I said, it's never going to be just about the parents, obviously, but the more that they do that, I think, with the parents, the more I think it actually makes us care about the journey of our 4 heroes, if you will, because we see what's at stake for them. We see what their challenges are at home in their home life. And I think the writers have done a really nice job of that. And every actor is like you always want every scene. You want every scene you want to be in every scene. At least I am that kind of an actor. But I also know that we each have a role to play, and they've written some really nice notes for us to play. I think hopefully they continue with that in mind.
In the prequel of Halloween episode, are we going to find out a little bit about why Byron cheated?
Yes, in his mea culpa, if you will, not so much about why he did it, but how he feels about having done it.
But it's a prequel.
Yeah, it is a prequel, but the affair has already happened.
Oh,
the affair has happened, and it's right after he was caught by Arya. Arya sees Byron kissing her in the car. So the scene that I'm talking about happens pretty soon thereafter, and it sets the tone for the way in which Arya kind of is complicit in his lie.
What's something about each of the 4 main actresses that we might not know from us?
Off camera?
Yeah.
I don't know if you don't know it, but I mean, it's probably just a validation of, like Lucy Hale's got the heart of Dixie, I mean, she's just kind of the kindest, sweetest, most sensitive person I think I've come across in a long time. And Shay is obviously deeply, I mean, you guys know that she's deeply, deeply committed to the cause that she believes in. And I really admire that about her. And, Ashley is, for as much of a jokester as she is, she's, fiercely professional and also, I think, really incredibly loyal to her friends and caring and loving. And Troyan, I mean, what can you say? We're all going to work for Troyan someday. Right? I mean, like, we're all going to work for Troyan. It's a fact. But, again, like I said, they all bring really, it's such great casting because they're really unique individuals off camera. The 4 girls are very different off camera. But, they each bring certain strengths, and I think that's shown in the way that they're written for. So they're similar to their characters in that way, but the common denominator is that they're just really kind and very conscientious and work very, very hard. And I don't think for a minute take any of this for granted.
So who do you think A is?
I have no idea. I don't know. I mean, I have no idea who A is.
We got a few ideas. Some people say it's a group. Some people say it's someone we haven't met yet. And someone said that it might be one of the 4 girls.
One of the 4 girls. That would blow my mind. That would be really twisted. I'm trying to think of that. Because I'm already like if we're kind of spitballing here, like, all right, I can see it being a group. I think there's probably some arguments to be made for it being not just one person. It being one of the girls, somebody we haven't met. There's also probably, I mean, that kind of seems obvious in a way that it could be some new character, although it wouldn't be as satisfying, I don't think, because it's kind of, one of the things I love about the show is that anybody really could be A. And like at the season finale last year, and they kind of were looking at, as the girls are coming out of the bell tower, and they kind of pan across, and you see all the faces of the townspeople and the parents, you kind of go, oh my God, one of those people is A. One of those people could have done this. I think the big question is how long can we sustain that? I think that's the big question, is how long can we sustain it? I do know this. I do know that A raises the stakes, for sure. And some pretty bad things happen. So that A isn't just an idle threat. A isn't just somebody, I mean, it certainly, we know that, but I think we're reminded of just how deadly serious A can be. I'm interested to find out. I'd like to know. I've heard a rumor that it's Byron. Have you heard this? They're like, well, and then somebody was like, I saw somebody in the street and they were justifying it. And they're like, well, here's why. And they had a case for why Byron was A. And they had me believing it by the end of our conversation. So, and I do know I think there are a couple people who know who A is. I think Marlene knows who A is. I think Oliver knows who A is. And I'm not so sure that anybody else outside of those 2 really knows who A is.
When you did your episode, what was
and they live at 325.
What was the credit teaser in your episode? The one where, you know how at the end of the episode A always does something?
Yeah, that was the episode that I directed. The teaser was the therapist, played by the lovely Annabeth Gish, is seeing A as a patient.
Oh.
So.
But we didn't actually see a person. Was there an actual physical person to direct that day?
The camera. Because the camera, it's always, as you notice, it's always the point of view, A's point of view. Those endings are always A's point of view. So which is a little jarring for an actor when, like with Annabeth, I'd actually been in acting class with Annabeth, so it was really fun to get to be in this, to work together like this. But she said, wait, I look directly in the camera, like in the lens? I look in the lens, I'm like, yeah, the camera's A. That's A. And so like little things that you get to do that were fun, like I had, it was subtle, I don't know if anybody noticed, but I had her sit, I had A stand above her, so that it felt a little bit more ominous. And she kind of looks up and says, so what can I help you with today? And then A drops into the chair. And so, little things like that, that's how I can direct A, I guess. Say, hey, cameraman, stay up and then sit down. It'll look more ominous. But, like in the massage scene where I directed, in the episode I directed where Emily's getting the massage by A, as it turns out, which I thought ended up looking really creepy, like really incredibly creepy. And you're shooting it, you're not so sure. You're always like, I hope this looks creepy when it's put together. And it did. We actually, is it better not to know who that was? Was it really A? Was I directing somebody as A? It's probably better just to leave it as A. But there was a little cinematic trick there. I'll just say that. I'll just say there's a little bit of a cinematic trick because we had to have a body. So, and that was a little bit of a cinematic trick that we used there. And then, and we had to be very careful because, there would be a scene where a hand would come through and you'd see skin. You go, well, I definitely can see that that's male or female.
Right.
Or, you can tell the gender, the race, the this, the that. And so you have to be very careful to protect that. Because the masseuse didn't come in wearing gloves and hoodie to give him a massage. So that was kind of fun.
Talking about the guest stars for a minute, as a big fan of Life Goes On, do you think there would ever be a chance that you could get Kelly Martin to come on?
I'll ask her. I'll ask the writers and I'll ask her. I mean,
Would it be a lovely idea?
I would love that. Yeah. No, I want to work with her again someday. She's such a unique and talented, and she's a lot like these girls remind me a lot. It's interesting of Kelly at that age, because I don't know if you guys got a chance to talk to Kelly back when you knew Kelly. She was just as committed and conscientious, and smart and beautiful as these girls are, and so I see a lot of Kelly in these girls. It's interesting, but I'm like twice their age, so it's a little strange. But that would be fun to get Kelly to be on the show. It was great to have Betty Buckley as a guest star on our show, and her brother Norman Buckley is one of our directors, so that was neat. So certainly the writers are open to it. I'll pitch it. We'll see where it goes.
Last question.
What do you think Byron's going to do to actually repair his family? Because they seem, again, so beyond help at the moment, even though they're trying to make some amends. But now the discovery his son's going off doing these criminal activities, his daughter has this illicit relationship that he's not going to react well to. How is he going to bring them all back together from that?
Well, the one thing I don't know, and the good thing is I can tell you this is no matter what he does or what anybody does to bring some normalcy to the family or to Rosewood, it's going to get squashed. And so it's like as soon as things start to settle down, as soon as you get a little bit of peace, it's always shattered, because there's never a dull moment in Rosewood, and there's never a dull moment at the Montgomery house. So whatever it is, I won't last. I know that.